So hello everyone, welcome to this week's YouTube tutorial, or video actually. I'm just going to talk about one of the recent events that I went to. I say recent, this is the first opportunity I've had to record this. It was actually a few months ago that I went there. So, but anyway, I hope you find this useful and interesting. And I just want to share with you how one of the vendors that supports the work that we do here at TDW is supporting their customers and what they're doing in terms of developing their products to support the new IPS specifications, as well as some specific user requirements that they may have. Anyway, those of you who are new here, my name is Mike Ingledew, and I'm all about making you successful with your integrated product support strategies, whether that's identifying the right standards or specifications, the right software, or just developing your skills. So this week I'm going to talk about, I was invited to the Raytheon Eagle User Conference, which was held earlier this year. And I've never been to Tucson before, and I've never been to Arizona. And it's the first time that we were able to go internationally post-COVID, although we're not supposed to use that word on YouTube. So I'm surprised, I won't be surprised if I get some kind of strike for that. So I was invited to the conference, and I hopped straight on a plane and I flew from Heathrow into Phoenix, and then I drove with Mark Wilson from Elevate Aviation. We tripped together, and we drove from Phoenix to Tucson, took in some of the sites, spectacular scenery. I'll talk some more about that later on. So I'd never been to Tucson before. I'd never been to the Raytheon User Conference before. And I was invited to give a couple of presentations, which of course, you know, I'm quite happy to give presentations. So I went along and I did a few presentations. It was the first event that I've been to, outside of the UK and post the dreaded C word, since TDW Live last year. So I really wanted to, you know, get on the road again, meet some people, and maybe have some conversations about, you know, some challenges that people are having, or along those lines, or talking about, you know, specific software requirements or whatever. So yeah, I went along to the event. Fantastic event. It was held at a beautiful hotel just outside Tucson. The scenery really was, you know, pretty amazing. And, you know, for somebody who's never been before, it's very Western, very kind of John Wayne country. And I've got some footage at the end that I've put together for you to have a look at. But what did we do? Well, it was over 3 days, and it brought together both users of the Raytheon software suite, as well as developers of the suite and the product managers, as well as senior executives from Raytheon, but also those that are interested in adopting or looking to adopt software solutions for their integrated product support strategies. It was really well attended. Stacey did tell me the numbers, but it was a really well attended event. So we had product updates, and we had kind of side sessions where there were presentations on things like XR, presentations on process data modules. There was presentations from people like myself on some specific issues that I spoke about. So there were some side rooms, but there was also a main stage area where we all started every day. So the first 2 days, although, as Stacey will tell you, I was walking around a little bit like a zombie, and because I was still in UK time zone, so, and I was waking up at like 11 o'clock at night, and I couldn't get back to sleep again until 6, but the event started for breakfast at 7. So it was a real kind of tough time shift for me, because I've not been for a little while. But like I say, I did a couple of presentations, one on the engineered technical publication, which a lot of people seem to enjoy. I did one on where S1000D is sitting inside the S series of specifications and how they are going to be designed to talk to each other. And then I underpinned that with what Raytheon were messaging at the event as well. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say on here what they said, so I'm going to do my very best to just kind of keep it very generic. If you're interested in what they're doing with their products and how they are supporting things like the S series, do get in touch. All their contact details are on our website, so you can get in touch with them. On the third day, I gave a keynote presentation on collaboration in integrated product support, and I gave a presentation on how I'm supporting customers capture IPS requirements and turning those into requirements documents or turning them into DMRLs or SNS structures and those kind of things. That was in the main hall, so a fairly sizable audience. Problem I had is the day before there was a brilliant keynote from a guy called Jay Dobbins, who I'll put some footage over me here. Jay is an ex special agent that worked undercover, and he opened up his presentation holding up a shirt that was covered in blood and said, "This is the shirt that I was shot in." And I'm thinking, how do you follow that? So I did my best. I'm not sure I was as engaging as Jay was, for sure, but he was certainly my man crush for a couple of days, because you know what, the stories the guy told were fresh out of Hollywood. It was unbelievable. So check out Jay. He's on YouTube. You can see some of his stuff on YouTube, and I've just bought his books as well. There was a whole load of people went down the front asking him to sign books and have their photos taken with him as well. So it was tough to follow that, if I'm perfectly honest, and the whole audience was completely engaged with what Jay had to say. But he was there giving kind of a motivational speech, which was fantastic. It was really, really well received. So, you know, the event was really technical focus. So we focused on, you know, kind of the making of IPS, how we're going to make IPS happen, and the product managers then talked about how and where the products are going, and what I was really interested in is how closely Raytheon worked with their customers to develop the software suite. And so when there was, you know, they were talking about specific features, you could see lots of nodding in the audience, etc. So it was a brilliant 3 days. It was really well organized, really well attended, made some new friends, made some new contacts. And not only that, we had some great food as well. Went out for dinner with a couple of the Raytheon guys and a couple of customers. And there was some entertainment put on the evenings as well. And we finished the whole event with kind of, I can't remember what they call it, but we call it a barbecue. It was a big old barbecue, where there was more freaking animal meat on display than I could ever imagine. So but yeah, so you know, a couple of plates and you were rolling back to the room. And also on top of that, they put on some, because I'm being a photographer, I think I might have told you that before, I like looking out into the starry nights, and because Tucson and Arizona is quite a dark area, they had some telescopes set up for the delegates to have a look at some distant galaxies, which were really quite interesting. That was good fun as well. So after the event, which was really well put together, so, you know, massive shout out to Stacey and to Jennifer. I hope everything's all right, Jennifer. And you know, we had a really good few days. But then Mark and I, we decided that we would take a little bit of downtime after the event, and we went and did a bit of a road trip. So I'll put a little montage at the end of the road trip. But what we did is we later found out it wasn't such a great idea. We moved from Tucson, and we drove past like an aircraft graveyard. I don't think it is a graveyard. I think the aircraft are all mothballed. But the airfields were just full of aircraft. Unbelievable. You can Google it on Google Earth and you'll see all of the aircraft all kind of mothballed. And so Mark and I drove up and down the road a couple of times with my GoPro hanging out the window, hoping somebody wasn't going to come and tell us off. And then we moved down. We wanted to go and see the Mexican border. And we later found out where we went, it was not such a sensible idea where we went. But being two kind of naive British tourists, we went. And yeah, we later found out that where we were, there was cartels on both sides of the border, so we could have found ourselves in a little bit of hot water. Either way, we winged it. We got away with it. Then we went through some of the towns, the kind of outback towns, which is really quite interesting to see. And we stayed in a place called Globe. But on the way to Globe, we wanted to stop at Tombstone. So we stopped at Tombstone, had a look at some of the touristy bits, and then had a look at the old graveyard that was there. That was pretty interesting. And then Mark and I took in the Apache Trail. And then after the Apache Trail, we stayed, I think it was 2 or 3 nights we stayed in Globe. And then we had to go to Phoenix to fly home again. So it was a brand new experience for me, both the event and Arizona and what Arizona had to offer. It was just great seeing, some colleagues again. Berry was there. We sat and had a chat with Berry. In fact, Mark Berry and I went out and we did some beer sampling. They did beer sampling. I did the driving. But it was a great 3 days. So I understand the next event is going to be in 2024. And Stacey's already pre-warned me that I will get invited. So hopefully that will happen. And not sure where it's going to be. I assume Tucson again. And if it is, I might even drag my wife along because the hotel was absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so I wanted to share with you, as a mark of appreciation for the Raytheon guys for inviting me along. A shout out to those of you who came and spoke to me and, thanked me about YouTube, etc. But we did sit and talk about some of the specific problems you're having around your project. In fact, some of you have been in touch afterwards looking for some training and some support, which I'm engaged with right now. So it was a brilliant few days. Definitely do it again. If you've never been and you're a Raytheon customer, do make sure you're on their distribution list because I'm sure you'll get invited along again. Anyway, so that was this week. Next week, I'll talk about the S1000D user forum that I attended in Renton and what I learned there, what I thought was interesting and the stuff that I thought was disappointing, as well as some of the downtime stuff that I did. In fact, some of the scenes and sites that I went and saw. So that's it. This week was the Raytheon user conference. Fantastic couple of days, 3 days, and a little bit of sightseeing as well. Do make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you want to learn more about what Raytheon is up to, get on their mailing list, and all their contact details are over on our website. Take care. Speak to you soon.